I did notice this, and I think it's important to point this out. Sometimes you got to point out the obvious, and I wanted to point out the obvious for somebody in the NFL because this is crucial to this story. So today is Friday the 13th. Now, I don't know exactly if Friday the 13th is still a thing. I don't know if that's something that people look at and go, "Oh my God, it's almost a full moon. It's Friday the 13th." What is this an indicator that there's going to be some sort of a weird event that occurs? Like I don't know if that's still a thing. It's like horoscopes. I used to be into horoscopes at one point in my life, and then I looked down at the fine print and it said for entertainment purposes only, and I realized, oh, that's a waste of time. Like this is a waste of time to look at this to determine what my day looks like. And then you realize, the one for Pisces and Cancer is the same for Gemini, just kind of twisted around the words a little bit. And you realize probably all a load of crap. But the date is important. The day, June 13th, is important. And it's important to point out because June 13th is a ways away from the NFL regular season. We got some time here. We got time. Yet for some reason, June 13th is important to the discussion because, you're trying to find the positives. You're trying to find something you can feel good about when it comes to one franchise. And that franchise is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. Because I saw this thrown out there on social media earlier this week, and I'm not trying to air anybody out who's doing the reporting on this, but I do find it a little bizarre. There was a tweet that was sent out that said the following: Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott went 15 for 19 with 4 touchdowns during today's practice. What are we doing, dude? Like what are we doing? Like, really? Like what are we doing? Why are we box scoring this? Why are we going down this road? Why are we having discussions about what Dak Prescott's stat line is? Unless you're one of these degenerate flunkies who can't get enough of fantasy football, so you got to do fantasy training camp football, which is a whole nother level of degenerate. That's like the guy who, his kid comes to him when he's graduating, turns 18, he graduates, like, "Dad, anything you got for me so I can..." I would have loved to, but I played fantasy training camp football back in the day and I lost my ass. So I don't know what to tell you. Your college savings, whatever I had for you, all that's gone. But here we are, it's June 13th, and we are box scoring Dak Prescott's 15 for 19 with 4 touchdowns at Cowboys practice. We're not even at training camp. We're not even at Oxnard, and we're keeping score of what Dak Prescott's doing. And it's not just a Cowboys thing. This happens around the NFL. It's going to continue to happen. It's a major pet peeve of mine. But hey, people love the NFL. It's all good. Got you. It's also important to point out that it's June 13th. It's Friday the 13th. So, with the season being a ways away, that feels like a key detail for one of the new arrivals in Dallas. And that new arrival is George Pickens. But according to Dak Prescott, anything that you've heard and anything that's been speculated about when it comes to George Pickens, don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't think that's why you should ever really listen to what somebody else says about somebody. I think you should judge everyone not judge, but find out for yourself who they are and allow them to reveal their character to you. The guy's been great. He's been phenomenal. It's a guy that loves football, loves his teammates. He's been excited every day that he's been there. He's been early. So no concerns on the personal matters of GP and anything about it. Just super excited that he's on our team. He's one of us, and he's a brother, and it's just about continuing to grow and making sure that we're putting the best out there, and that's his approach.
Why don't we give it a little time? Why don't we just give it just a little bit of time, please? For the love of Christ, give it a little bit of time. George Pickens in Pittsburgh was fined, I believe, a little over $200,000 for varying degrees of not meeting team standards. All right, this is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got a pretty good track record of knowing when to turn the page on a disgruntled player or a disgruntled wide receiver. Pretty good track record. It seemingly always turns out well for Pittsburgh. It doesn't always turn out well for the other guy. So pretty good track record. Kept a lot of things quiet and decided, we're good here. We got to move on from George Pickens. And that was in Pittsburgh, where they do a really good job also of keeping things behind closed doors. You're not going to hear a whole lot about it. And that was in Pittsburgh, where George Pickens wasn't in a contract year, so to speak. He's now going to be in Dallas, which gets the most coverage maybe of any professional team in sports from a national landscape. It's hard to find anybody who gets more coverage than the Dallas Cowboys. He's now in Dallas, and he needs to play well and produce to get that big contract he wants. And it's June 13th, and we're saying, yeah, I don't believe any of this stuff you hear. Come on, man. Like, you gotta let this thing play out a little bit. And you gotta let it play out a little bit, because when it has played out, we've seen the results. There was a story, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but there was a story that was thrown out there that George Pickens showed up. First of all, the one that he showed up late for the Christmas game, that's true. We believe that that's true. There's also another story that he showed up like 20 minutes before kickoff. He walks onto the field, or he walks into the building, and he's eating a Twizzlers, and he says, "My bad, there was traffic." Okay, now, I'm more of a Red Vine, Red Rope guy myself. Twizzlers, pretty overrated. Feels more like, feels a little bit too gimmicky, if you ask me. Like, that's something you would get it would be at the bottom of the Halloween bag when you get home. It's like that, or, the Whoppers, the 3-pack of Whoppers you got from some neighbor who's a cheap ass who's had them sitting around since their aunt died 4 years ago. But the point is, he's in Dallas now. You can't escape any of this stuff. It's going to be a story. Even people that don't have drama fall into drama in Dallas. You can't escape any of it. You got former Dallas players that are telling you, yeah, it's kind of weird. We're trying to work out, trying to get a lift in, trying to hang out in the building, and they've got tours going on. We feel like zoo animals. There's people walking around. George Pickens can't get away with any of this stuff. It's a different environment altogether. So you've got a lot of evidence here to suggest that this is going to go really, really poorly. A, it's George Pickens. Nothing against the guy. He's phenomenal. He's fantastic. But a little bit of a wild card, I think we can say. Entertaining as hell, but a little bit of a wild card. So you've got that. You've also got the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to move on. And they seem to make pretty good decisions when it comes to wanting to move on, as we've laid out before. And you've got the coverage of the Dallas Cowboys. None of it matters what's happening on June 13th at all whatsoever. We're going to get to week 4, week 5, week 6. CeeDee Lamb is still going to be the number one receiver. He's going to be the number one target. Jake Ferguson's there. You've got guys that have built a rapport with Dak Prescott. You mean to tell me George Pickens, in a contract year, knowing what's on the line, generations of wealth potentially if he plays well and plays up to his potential, you mean to tell me that same George Pickens isn't going to have an outburst or two, isn't going to have an issue or two with not getting the ball enough? Like, we really believe that? And Dak Prescott's doing his job, and he's laying it out as, well, listen, look, anything you hear, you can't really believe. Dude, I could tell you, my son is the most well-behaved guy in the world. Like, he is the best, man. He's the best right when he arrives to the park. He's the best. Excited, energetic, happy, loves being there. Great kid. An hour later, I want to call the SWAT team. Borderline violent, cranky, upset, hungry, tired, annoyed, sick of me. Just give it a little bit of time. It's not really about the arrival. It's about the departure, okay? Give it a little bit of time with George Pickens. When you're covering the Cowboys, give it a little bit of time before we start breaking down what Dak's stats are in training camp. And give it a little bit of time, because it is Dallas, before we start just anointing everybody as it's a drama-free team. It's not. It never has been. And when you add all those factors in surrounding George Pickens, something tells me there's going to be a dust-up sooner rather than later.